that it's some
Here,
sort of like,
we can hear multiple.
beauty salon or nail place, which is what it was before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I like the little fur coats was there. And then I know they moved to 6. I don't know. You had enough or?
I don't think there was anything else. I think it was too hard for the amount of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean. it's-
So he's passionate.
Yeah, all those guys were great. We used to, Sam.
So I gotta imagine that sprouting. So we.
Yeah, it's a little longer because.
Good afternoon, everyone. The hour being 5:30 on April 11th, 2023. I will now call the Public Works and Services Committee to order. Mr. Pritzloff, may we have the roll call?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alder Jones,
Present.
Alder Land,
Present.
Alder Paffrath,
Present.
Alder Sebastian. Absent. And Alder Perez
Is asked to be excused.
is excused. Okay.
Thank you. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from February 28th and March 14th of 2023.
Move to approve them both. A second.
The motion and second to approve the minutes from February 28th and March 14th, 2023. Any questions? Discussion? Corrections? Saying none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First item on our agenda this afternoon is 0331-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Cheryl McCray, proposing that the city of Racine sponsor the National Day of Prayer commemoration and celebration on May 4th, 2023. Staff recommendation that the city of Racine sponsor the National Day of Prayer commemorations. Mr. Pritzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. This is a new item that's coming before this committee. In years past, it didn't actually go to a committee. They just put it together and had it out here on the East Terrace area of City Hall. Public Works did support that. We, providing electricity, things like that. However, I was contacted by our city attorney's office, and there were some recent court decisions involving free speech, government speech, and the uses of government property for speech-related activities. And for now, I think the modus operandi is that these types of things come before this board and gain approval from this board. So from our perspective as a staff, nothing is going to change. We will support the event. We will turn the electricity on, all those things. But there will be some specific language in the resolution that the attorney's office puts together specifically regarding these speech-related activities on government property. So something similar to kind of put this in perspective is a while back we had a Racine Pride Day or Pride Month celebrating partnership with LGBTQ Center of Southeast Wisconsin. So something, this is similar in vein to that type of an item. And like I said, from a staff perspective, we have no particular issue with what's going on. There'll just be some specific language from the attorney's office in the resolution.
Thank you. I just have one question. They do not have to do any home harmless agreement or anything like that.
No, having spoken with the attorney's office, there is no such thing. Let's see here. They would, there is no stipulation for that.
Any questions from committee members?
I don't know if there's anybody here from the attorney's office that can speak to it. But I don't think so.
Jory, did you have any?
No, I just echo what Ron said. We had supported this in the past, put the podium out there, the electricity, and it's just something that the city attorney's office actually brought to our attention after the event last year and reminded us on a quarterly basis to make sure this goes to committee because he didn't want the approval of committee and common council, as Ron stated. So we'll bring this back to you every time they want to have this event for your consideration.
Seeing no questions from committee members, I would entertain a motion. To approve.
Second.
It's been motioned by Alder Patheras, second by Alder Land to approve item 0331-23. Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. The next item is 0333-23, communication sponsored by Alder Land on behalf of Jose Felix and from Ghetto's Enterprise, requesting to use North Beach Oasis parking lot for carnival rides and Barker Street parking lot for staff parking overnight from May 26, 20 through 28, 2023. Request includes temporarily suspending ordinance section 70-101 closing hours. Staff recommendation that Ghettos be approved for overnight on May 26 through 28, 2023, including temporarily suspending orders section 70-101 closing hours be approved. Provide approval is also granted by other impacted departments. Fiscal note, applicable fees to be determined by PRCS administration. We have with us Mr. Moback from Park and Rec to speak on this item.
So yes, the contractors that run the Oasis, this is their event that they requested to do over Memorial Day weekend. So really what the request is not the event itself, it's the use of the parking lots, and not just during the day during the event, it's more so for temporarily suspending the ordinance that doesn't allow parking people in the park after 10, between the 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So the both parking lots, the one directly behind the Oasis where the carnival will take place, and Barker parking lot is the area where their staff, trucks, things that they need for their event will be parked in there. So those would be overnight. We're asking the ordinance to be temporarily suspended for those dates that were listed on the item.
Alder Land.
Did you talk to them if they're having, I know I emailed you, are they having extra security there for the event?
Yeah, so the event is, the rides are gonna be strictly made for like elementary kids, so it's not gonna be middle school, high school. I'm sure there could be some people down there, around there. It's gonna be fenced off by the Park Rec Department. But yes, they will have some type of security down there during that time. They'll have some at night as well with their own staff, with all their equipment down there. But we are working with manager to make sure that things are gonna be okay for that event. But yes, there will be some type of security down there.
Alder Patheras.
Sure. Can you tell me about, are people gonna be sleeping down there? They gonna be staying in their cars?
I can't say that for certain. I know that they'll have some people down there that will be up during the night walking through there. But that's pretty common when we have our jet ski races. They bring campers and everything in their parking lots. And so that happened before. That's kind of why we're coming here to
Okay,
ask for this suspension for this particular event.
thank you. I'm guessing that the police department has to provide approval for this as well?
Well, they've been contacted. They know about the event. They're the ones that we're hoping that we get the security from. So they'll be aware of this event.
Okay,
I know that it's difficult at this time to get some of our officers to do outside work. So
Yeah.
we're not sure what they're going to get, but we're going to get something comparable. And the police department's kind of helping us out with that if that becomes the case.
okay. Will there be a way to make sure that the authorized vehicles that are parked there are identified by license plate prior to the event. So that we know that the vehicles that are down there overnight are
Sure.
actually authorized to be down there.
We can do that. We do that with the 4th of July, but we don't do that with any other event.
Yeah,
But I don't know how many there are actually going to be right now.
okay,
There's not good, when you think of a carnival, you're thinking of tons and tons of rides. I think
Yeah.
we're talking about like 5.
okay.
I think is what we're looking
Yeah.
for. I don't think there are a lot, but we can work that out.
I just think
Sure.
that, I do some events and that's one of the requirements that as an overnight artist at things, I have to provide my license so that the security at the arboretums that we're at know who should be there, who shouldn't.
We can probably adjust the ones we use for 4th of July and make them work for this event,
Okay.
which would be no problem.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Move to approve. One second.
The motion by Alder Rand, second by Alder Packard, to approve item 0333-23. Seeing no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Our next item is 0309-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Angela Zimmerman, Executive Director, Racine Public Library, to close Lake Avenue from 7 to 8th Street and a parking lot from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on September 9th, 2023 for the Health and Business Expo. Staff recommendation that the closure be approved as per the Racine Public Library request per the attached stipulations. Physical note lost revenue for the parking meters is estimated to be $330. Mr. Prislov.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members. This appears to be, the library is teaming in this case with the Urban League of Racine, Kenosha, and the African American Chamber of Commerce to hold this Health and Business Expo. We've had significant discussion and back and forth with Director Zimmerman. Everything seems to be in order with regard to this item. From a staff perspective, we have no objection. I didn't know if Director Zimmerman or her partners would like to speak on the item, but from a staff perspective, we have no problems.
Director Zimmerman is here to speak on the item.
Actually, it's a lie. It's our 126th anniversary. I'm just kidding. It's the truth. It's a partnership with the Urban League of Racine and Kenosha and the African American Chamber of Commerce. And historically, this event was held at the Dr. John Brennan Community Center. The library was always a vendor there. And it was wonderfully put on, but I kind of went to Executive Director James of the Urban League of Racine and Kenosha and said, I feel like we could get a bit more foot traffic if we brought it to the library area, considering that we had on our 125th block party, we had about 4,000 people come through. We were figuring that we could just bring a lot more foot traffic. So there'll be a fashion show, car show. We'll have our new second floor renovation open. We also have Laura from the Racine Literacy Council, the Executive Director. We'll have some manicure little parking lot there, wonderful parking lot. And just an opportunity to showcase all the resources within our community. And it probably will not be called the Health and Business Expo. That is still under discussion as to what the official title of it will be. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Questions from staff? Committee members? Seeing none, I would entertain motion.
Almost to approve.
Second.
It is been motioned by Alder Sebastian, second by Alder Rand, to approve items 0309-23. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Zimmerman.
Thank you.
Our next item is 0310-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Lakeview Pharmacy requesting a stationary projecting sign overhang encroachment on the west side of the building for a business located at 516 Monument Square. Staff recommendation that the property owner at 516 Monument Square be granted permission to install a stationary sign over the city right of way with the stipulation that a hold harmless agreement be executed and a $150 processing fee paid in accordance with state statute 66.0425 privileges in streets. Physical note, there will be no cost to the city of Racine. And the applicant, do we have the applicant here? If either one of you would like to come to the podium and state your name, please, for us.
Matthew Hoffman, owner of Ricky Pharmacy.
Matthew.
Hoffman.
Go ahead, sir.
My wife and I purchased the store last September. We are currently about to begin executing an internal remodel. We've already received approval for the other part of the exterior remodel that the protecting sign accompanies. Replacing the facade with a gray barnwood and the protecting sign. With all the optimism in the world, we cannot wait for this hotel to open up. That's next door to us. So we are hoping that a little added visibility to pedestrian traffic will merit a good investment for us. And also help us give the downtown area a little bit. Thank you.
Any questions? And you said you just recently purchased it last year?
September 29th.
Okay. And it was still, the name will still be Lakeview Pharmacy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Alder Packrat, second by Alder Land to approve item 0310-23. Seeing no further questions, discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. And if you want to come to council on next Tuesday, which would be this, not Tuesday, Monday, which would be the 17th, for council,
Same time.
6 p.m.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Our next item is 0311-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Lakeview Pharmacy requesting a stationary protecting sign over. I was gonna say, it's a little different. That's why.
Forgot it's separate.
Okay,
This is
well,
the signage, right?
yes,
No, this is the east side of the building.
right, okay. Well, anyways, if you want to just hold one moment, please. Requested a stationary protecting sign overhang encroachment on the east side of the building for a business located at 516 Monument Square. Staff recommendation that the property owner at 516 Monument Square be granted permission to install a stationary sign over the city right of way with the stipulation that a hold harmless agreement be executed and a $150 processing fee paid in accordance with state statute 66.0425 privileges in streets. Physical note, there will be no cost to the city of Racine. And we have the owner to speak to the item again, if you wish to.
I guess nothing's changed in the past couple of minutes.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will ask for a
Make a motion to approve.
is motion by Alder Packrat, second by Alder Land to approve item 0311-23. Seeing no further questions, discussions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. This time I think you did.
Thank
Thank you. Our next item is 0312-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2023044 Mount Pleasant resurfacing. Staff recommendation, receive and file. And that is Mr. Pritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. We didn't receive any bids on this project, so we did a little research into that. It looked like there were some personnel issues that one of the contractors that, normal people who do bid projects got moved and another person brought in. And then we talked to another one who wanted to submit bid, but didn't. So we'd like to just go ahead and receive the files and we'll re-advertise it. I fully expect we'll get multiple bids from this round.
Okay. This is Mount Pleasant Street.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
From Rapid State out.
thank you. Any questions from committee members? Then I will entertain a motion.
Move to receive and file.
I will second.
Motion by Alder Land, second by Alder Sebastian to receive and file item 0312-23. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0313-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 202-3052, concrete pavement rehabilitation. Staff recommendation that the contract be awarded to Beardsley Concrete in the amount of $140,787, they being the lowest responsive bidder. And we have Mr. Molitor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we stated, we received bids on April 5th last week at 2 p.m. for this contract, which is basically a concrete rehab, basically in place of the staffing charges we have in the field office. This is a joint repair program that we will continue probably down Erie Street and maybe at several other locations because the bids came in quite a bit lower than expected. We had about $250,000 budgeted for the project. So we hopefully can spread this out and get more done than we expected. If the committee has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, but we recommend that we go ahead and award this contract.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Alder Land, second by Alder Packcraft to approve item 0313-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Our next item is 0314-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 202-3029, Racine Public Works Transfer Station. Staff recommendation that the contract be awarded to, is it Buckets? Bukacek, excuse me, construction in the amount of $4,331,555, and that their alternate bid 3 of $130,000 for a total of $4,461,555. They being the lowest responsive bidder. Physical note funding is available in the following port objects. 45040-57110. Mr. Mooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members, Wednesday, April 5th, Department of Public Works received bids for the contract 2023-029 Racine Public Works Transfer Station. We're submitting the same for your approval. Following bids were received. We received a bid from Bukacek Construction and one from VJS Construction Services. We actually had 4 plan holders out that could have been general contractors. 2 of them elected and not to go through the pre-qualification process. So they couldn't submit bids, but we did get 2 bids. Bukacek was the apparent low bidder with a base bid of $4,331,555. We had 3 alternates that we bid. Alternate 1 was adding installation of solar panels and associated electrical systems with those. Alternate 2 was adding installation of a stairwell on the north side of the transfer station. would have to be built to maintain the solar panel system on the roofs. And alternate 3 includes the hauling and offloading of excess impacted hazardous material to GFL Emerald Park in Muskego. Staff recommends that alternatives 1 and 2 not be awarded. The return on the investment for the particular system is well over 25 years old, and it greatly exceeds the service life of the solar powered system. This is based on available data, estimated electricity costs and consumption to operate the transfer station, our bid prices, the stair system included for maintenance. Just to expand on that a little bit, the contract was bid out. As you can see, there's a 3D rendering of it. There were solar panels that we were showing on the south elevation. So you're kind of be looking at this view from 21st Street here. On the east elevation, where you see the refuse truck there, that's where we'll come in. One side of that tipping floor will be for MSW, municipal solid waste. The other side will be for recyclable materials. Those will both then be tipped on the tipping floor, while the loader then push them into 2 different compactor systems. The one on the east side or the south side where Ron's pointing the cursor, that'll be where the recyclable materials go. The one on the north side, that'll go into a compactor for municipal solid waste. And we put the electrical panels on that side of the roof elevation. Actually, our service area is going to be in the southeast corner of the building there. You can kind of see a pickup truck and a little car park next to it. That's where people will come in. And this is where Pearl Street will operate out of come Memorial Day next year. This is the rendering from kind of your northwest view looking southeast. And as you can see, there's more solar panels put on the canopy over there. That's an area where people will come in with materials like tires, white goods, electronic recycles. They will go under that canopy. Those will be dropped off there. They will get loaded in to those trucks, get hauled off by the various vendors who do that. So we had limited space on the rooftops for the solar panel system, and we needed about 80,000 kilowatts to run the transfer station. It was limited based on size after Bukacek submitted the alternates in the bid, and we talked with the contractor afterwards. They could only get about 33,000 kilowatt system there. So we were only going to be powering up this facility by just over 40%. So the payback just wasn't there. The solar system itself on their alternate bid was about 204,000, and the stairwell that you can see on the north elevation there, and some of the other stuff that you have to do to get up there and access it would have been almost another 150,000. So we felt that $350,000 in extra cost wasn't warranted. It'd be nice to say it's a green type of building and we have solar power, but if the ROI isn't there, it would be strictly a demonstration project that would lose money. However, the building still has a lot of, like you see right along the top of the canopy there. We have windows that are going to go on. They're going to bring a lot of natural light in there to really cut down on electricity costs. So we're recommending the award of the base bid plus the alternate bid. Now, the alternate bid number 3, like I said, is for that waste material. This unfortunately is what you have to deal with. We select a site that does have some contaminated materials on it. We have to get rid of them. So there will be a cost involved with that. They simply can't be used for fill material at any construction site because they are impacted soil. So they do have to get properly taken care of by the landfill. So based on that, that is our recommendation is to award to Bukacek Construction their low base bid in the amount of $4,331,555 plus alternate number 3. The engineer's estimate for this project was about $4.2 million. So it was pretty close. Would have been nice to see where some of the other bidders landed, but they didn't want to get pre-qualified, and you can't bid if you're not pre-qualified to do so. So that is our recommendation. If you have any questions, Ron or myself would be happy to answer them.
Alderman.
When do you think that this is going to be operational?
We have it in the bid documents. Remember, we did not have received bids on this a month or so ago, so we had to rebid. Part of that was because we were pretty ambitious about when we wanted it completed by, so we stretched out the completion date. We also worked through some other issues with supply chain items. So the completion date is to have this thing open by Memorial Day of next year. So we will be in our transition plan. You know, we ideally would have liked to have this thing done by the end of this year. It was kind of unrealistic because this is where the market is in construction right now. So, you know, we'll be in our transition plan well into 2024. So we'll have kind of an interesting quasi type solid waste recycling budget where it's part of next year is going to be budgeted to be doing what we're doing now, the extra costs of hauling, extra costs of, you know, fuel, labor, and then running a normal operation pretty much the better part of the last half of the year. So we will have that reflected in the budget that we prepare for common council this fall. But yeah, we want to get it open and be operational. The household hazardous waste has moved to, that's where they were located. They're moving over to Southside Industrial Park. I think their events next weekend. Yeah, not this weekend, but next weekend. They're going to be running out of that location for this year and probably for the first 2 months of next year. Same place we do our free recycle event. But come next year, when this is complete, household hazardous waste, we'll be back here. They will operate kind of, the east, you don't see it up here, but they'll operate here. There'll be an expanded paved area where you go out there and go back to the same place you're used to, so.
So my guess.
It's on the path.
Oh, I didn't see anything.
She gotta be like this.
No, yes, I didn't see it. That's all right. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's okay.
So let's say in a perfect world, funding became available, grants for green energy. Is the solar panel piece something that could be added on during the construction process?
It could be. The roof system is built specifically to carry that extra load with or without the solar panels.
Okay.
And, you know, we're just being pragmatic public works staff here.
Absolutely.
This is what we're doing.
Right.
If somebody said they don't really mind spending $350,000 on a project, you know, because let's face it, at the end of the day, it does reduce your carbon footprint a little
Right.
bit, and we all understand that. It doesn't make financial sense with
Right.
regards to the payback of the system. But, you know, if someone could, you know, get their hands on grant monies and they wanted to do that, we could always do that. It's something that even if the transfer station was built, it's something that we could add on in a year from now as well. And there'd be some, you know, electrical switch gear and things like that that have to be put in place to take it, you know, off of, you know, everything being directly metered into the facility is having taken off solar there. So, yeah, it can be done, but we're just trying to be cognizant of costs.
Absolutely.
I mean, we still have to go out and purchase the 2 compactors as well for this facility.
That's not part of the bid.
No, it is not. The
Okay.
compactors will be purchased separately. We also have already purchased the large end loader that will be used to move on the tipping floor.
And those are separate line items.
So the other stuff along, yeah. So, you know, we're just trying to be cost conscious and keep things down. But yeah, if grant monies become available and this common council thought there was a way to fund it another way,
Right.
well, we can always go back. Again, we can't do anything about the size of the roof. We'll only get
Right.
a system that runs about 40% of the transfer station. It's just not big enough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's no sense in making the transfer station double the size.
No, it's just to make it.
I mean, that's
Electricity,
the millions of dollars
okay.
of cost,
That's
exactly.
that's the shelving.
Yeah, but it's a good
okay.
question.
I appreciate
Yeah.
knowing that information because there could potentially be money that becomes available as grant money, not tax dollars that could be
Yeah.
potentially used for
It could
something.
be put on the roof. It's, you know, I guess in, you know, in some ways it's like they're adding solar on the transit garage. They get some grant funding for that.
Yeah.
You know, they're not putting it on the roof there. They're putting it on the eastern and southern side of the property. They're almost going to look like carports, if you will. That's what's happening out on Kentucky Street. And the reason they're doing it that way is because that road can't support solar. So this one, it will be.
It's gonna be built so that it could, if that adjustment could happen in the future.
Yeah.
Sweet. One more question, and that is related to food composting. I know that, I think, did you meet with someone from that group?
Yeah.
I know that there's been a movement to talk about reducing household waste by encouraging composting by individual families. I believe Caledonia has a program, Mount Pleasant, Sturtevant has a program. And I didn't know if there might be any, I don't know if you guys talked after you met with that group, if there might be any opportunity to have part of that be incorporated into this transfer station, giving the brand new rebuild
No,
and
yeah, when I had my initial meeting with them, I asked them to come back with me with some little bit more specifics. They had some general things that they wanted to discuss, but you know, when you look at, and I understand it wouldn't be that much, but it's extra money that goes into our budget that John Q taxpayer might have to pay for. So there were some other issues in terms of the specifics. Who runs it, who hauls it off, who does,
Right.
you know, so we don't have those specifics just yet. So I can't give you a specific cost and how that would affect. Is it a fee that we have to put on the tax bill? Is it, you know, I know in Sturtevant, it's just, you go in and you pay $25 and you get like a couple of blue bags. And then somebody else that, somebody works with another hauling contractor to haul it off. So, but, you know, being a much larger, you know, city, there's some other logistical things that we need to really get through before we have that discussion. Always open to that, you know, so, but I think our initial meeting kind of brought to light some things that I think they need to really kind of think through. And I'm glad to help, you know, talk to them and say, hey, did you think about this? Did you think about that? But right now, they're just not ready to move in that direction, you know, so, you know, they've asked me a couple of things about putting surveys out. I'm glad to help in that regard. We can do that. But then it's, like I said, there's a whole cost issue. You know, we're already going to be $60,000 to $70,000 a month, you know, starting, you know, all the way through May. And some of this transfer station stuff, although we can kind of project what it's going to be, we won't know until we got really a good full year of data. What does it really cost to operate this thing? So I will continue to work with them. And if it's an issue where we need to put a bid on the site or something like that, and you know, we can work through all those costs, and I can keep you informed on how those are going. If you want to be part of that meeting, those meetings, certainly welcome to do so. But right now, I don't have enough detail to give you a good.
me neither.
To give you a good.
That sounds a good idea. I like good ideas.
Yeah.
It's all the deal.
Yeah, it was a great idea.
Yeah.
Just, I think there was things that may be happening in Sturtevant. I don't think that can happen here.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
So I know they're working on that. So be in touch with me and I'll keep you informed of what's going on.
And I think those are things that, you know, this site, we didn't develop it for composting. You know, this is something that if there's a real interest in composting in the city of Racine, and I think a plurality of the common council needs to maybe establish like a resolution or a directive, have Public Works go out and vet what that looks like and how much it would cost. And, you know, where that could be, would it be here? Could it be at another location? You know, we're not sure. We all understand, you know, the food waste is, you know, it's a huge part of percentage of what gets landfill.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can see, I think 30% of typical landfill space is just plain food waste. And it's many things, you know, you have the folks from InSinkErator who love to put a garbage disposal in every home in the city as well, you know, and get rid of your food waste that way. So, you know, there's a lot of different angles, there's a lot of things to look at, but it's a different thing that we're not afraid of talking about, but, you know, we're tasked with trying to take care of our waste collection and disposal issue at hand. And that's something, if it's of importance to the town council, Public Works will certainly gather information. But we're not looking ourselves, we're not soliciting folks to talk about composting for Public Works, the operations as it relates to refuse and disposal.
That's really cool.
I threw this up there just so you guys could get a look at kind of the overall picture of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
This is 21st Street right here, going to the dead end. Highway 31's out here. Here's what we're proposing. There's the transfer station itself. There's that drop off area where people move the white goods and the tires. Here's where our trucks will come in.
They'll scale in.
Yep, there's a scale right here.
Yep. So we got to keep track of obviously our tonnage, because that's what we get based on our tipping fee. So yeah, our refuse trucks will come in here. They'll scale in here. They'll come in and then they will maneuver around here and go in and out. And then obviously the ramps here, the contractor, we will be working on that this year. We'll start soliciting proposals to have a contractor's bid on hauling this material away and taking it to wherever they want to take it to. We don't care if it goes to GFL. We don't care if it goes to the Murph of Johnson, whoever gives us the best price for our material and the best haul is going to get it. So we only take it here, drop it on the floor, put it in the compactors, and that's it. We're done with that. So contractors will take away from there. And then we will leave here. This area in here, I don't know if you can read this, but this will be the future household hazardous waste drop area. So we're paving this area. It's really an area we didn't really have to pave to build this transfer station, but this is where household hazardous waste existed. So we kind of displaced them for a year. So, we're putting the pavement back down there so they can operate. And we think it, I know you talk about like composting, but this is kind of a nice one-stop shop then for all kind of your waste things. It's household hazardous waste, plus it's your, you can bring your, your white good, your tires, your regular, if you have a big party and you got extra bags of garbage, you can bring them over here too. So
that's gonna be like the Pearl Street.
Gonna be the Pearl Street with the exception of brush. That will probably remain at Pearl Street now, but that'll be the only thing that'll be there.
Thank you for all your hard work on this. I know this was a big deal and it's a big cost to haul it out, and it's a big change. Appreciate.
I think we're going to see the operating costs in the budget in subsequent years. Really, that's where we're going to reap that benefit of this big capital investment. That's why I went through that analysis with Fulk to look at 4 different options on how we're going to deal with refuse collection and disposal.
Yeah.
So the payback is definitely here to build this facility for our future operating costs. That we established.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
Elizabeth.
So, my guess, correct me if I'm incorrect, with the, I want to say, the quickness of the initial build, trying to get it done before winter, when we were looking at like winter construction and things like that, would that be safe, fair to say? No.
What's that again?
But when you were talking about the timeline, when we were trying to get it done quicker, are we trying to get that done before like winter construction, this and that, or?
Not really winter construction per se. We were shooting for the end of the fiscal year because that's what we were budgeted to be in our transition plan for.
Sure.
But that's why you have a new budget, come up with new plans.
Right.
So yeah, it's just
So-
wasn't gonna be built that amount of time.
As we look through this, as we're looking through the winter and things like that, let's say we have a wild winter, right? Will this affect our price on this dramatically by any means? I know we can't predict the future or the timeline or anything like that, or do we feel pretty confident that it's gonna stay right around here?
Well, we hope so. I mean, the fact of the matter is, they have to have really, really compelling reasons and that goes for any public works project for change order. So this is kind of unlike a road or a sewer project, where a lot of quantities can vary and add and change, a lot of unknowns. Now, this is vertical building construction. I don't see that. They've locked their prices in. I would hope that the folks, particularly from Bukachuk, are very confident of the schedule. That's, some of them were very leery about even submitting a bid because they couldn't assure that that the facility would be open in time, and we had penalties in there if it went beyond that. And I think everybody that we talked was very comfortable with this timeline. And as far as the incentive on this project, does that,
So the incentive is $1,800 a day.
we still have an incentive?
Maximum of 30 days.
Yeah.
So I think it's 54,000 is what the, you could, if you got done 30 days at a time, you get 54,000. But by the same token, if you go over that completion date of May 31st, now it's $1,800 a day that you're paying the city.
Yeah.
You
So
answered- you answered my question.
we still have that incentive and that penalty in there, but with this extended date, there was more comfort in doing it. I don't think anybody was ever gonna get the incentive. They definitely were probably looking at penalty, and they don't want to put themselves in that risky of a position. So again, to Ron's point, we were did some analysis, like I said, of how much this is costing us on a monthly basis to transfer our waste out to Muskego, and we're figuring, if they can get it done a month early, that's about how much it costs for our labor and fuel and equipment costs and maintenance of it to get it out there and back. So we'll gladly add another $50,000 to their final payment if they keep us from going to Muskego. I mean, it's gonna really be a welcome relief for us, because we are severely understaffed at UPW, and we were another fortunate winter. I mean, we did get our fair share of snow, but about 80% of our events kind of hit on the weekends. So, we didn't have to worry about trying to figure out, can we miss snow and ice and go to Muskego and back. So we may not get that lucky this winter, but we'll see. But we do have the incentives in there, Sebastian. We do have the penalties to keep them working towards that.
Excellent, thank you.
I just have one small question. I just looked at the difference between the two bidders, and the one for concrete, earthwork, and special construction in some instances was almost double what Ricocheck bid. Do you think they included maybe price of material going up in that?
We talked about this with Fulton and the designer, Coma, the architect, and we also talked with any other public works projects. Some unit prices you can see they're very competitive on. Some you're like, why are they so different? And the fact of the matter is that there is some unbalanced bidding done on purpose. There are certain things that if you maybe get in the ground first, you can submit a pay request on. You can get, you get more on that draw, so to speak. So there are things that sometimes get represented that way. We got to be a little bit sharp with our pencil on that, because we can't have an artificially inflated unit price for something, especially if it's like pavement or sewer pipe, where you can add on many, many feet or many, square yards of concrete. But I think sometimes they do things a little bit differently to when they think they're going to be doing certain activities and they're going to get paid for them. Not all the unit prices are going to add up. We broke it down by these bid items just to give us an idea of what, some of the costs were going to be for the various items. At the end of the day, this could have simply been one line item, one lump sum, and we could have had, this is more for our benefits.
Okay, because I looked at the one person working, I'm like, the price of.
But you see, general requirements, Bukacheck's got 45,000, VJ has put $1 into it. Some people bury a lot of costs in mobilization. That's a cost of getting equipment, materials to the job, and getting your labor there, and some people like to upfront that, and some people like just, so you get paid right away, or some people like to spread that across other bid items. So it varies.
Thank you so much. Any on the pathway?
Thank you. So you mentioned that there was a bonus if you finished early, and there were penalties if you were finished delayed. Is that the penalties are per day?
Per day.
And that's not capped? I know that.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
So if they don't get it done,
They're capped on the incentive and they're not capped.
not
on
capped
the-
on the penalty.
So
Okay.
we're maximum at 30 days. So,
For the sign.
for the incentive.
Correct. And the penalty, there's no cap on. it.
No, if all of a sudden they're just,
3 months behind.
yeah, dilly-dallying, for
Okay.
lack of a better word, yeah, they're gonna cover our costs
Okay,
of being in this transition plan of hauling waste out to Muskego. We have an expectation that this project gets done, and gets done at the time we want it done. This is not an inexpensive operation that we run, and the taxpayers are the ones that have to pay for this, so. This has huge impact to the levy and also to the recycling rate. Part of this cost over time will be amortized over the special revenue fund. So, part of this operating cost for this new transportation will also have to be, appropriated to the recycling fee as well. I mean, it's where it belongs. So we want to be cost conscious about that, try to keep these prices, reasonable for your recycling fee and for what portion of the levy is going to be needed to run this operation. So.
great. Thank you for that clarification.
I can't speak for all of our projects, but $1,800 a day is a pretty hefty liquidated damage for
Okay,
something like this. So I think some of Arrow's projects come in maybe $1,500 a day.
Ours are based off the DOT, so it depends on the cost of the project. Yeah, so but $1,800 is kind of, would be a high end for us.
But you talk about profit margins on construction projects, this is a nice add-on, they're in business to make money. So if their return on a project like this, say is 7% or something like that, like a 7% over 4 million and add an extra potential 50,000 on there. That's real money, I think that's gonna be something that they're gonna try to take advantage of. And on the other flip side of the coin, they don't wanna lose money on it either, so.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for the discussion. If seeing no further questions, comments, I'll entertain a motion.
a motion to approve.
Second,
Motion by Alder Packrat, second by Alder Land to approve item 0314-23. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0315-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 202-3022-2023 city resurfacing. Staff recommendation that the contract be awarded to Payne and Dolan, Inc. in the amount of $873,228.63. They being the lowest responsive bidder. Physical note funding is available in the following port objects: sanitary sewer, stone sewer, sidewalk replacement, crosswalk ramps, replacement city circuits, pavement SSM asphalt, and, well, 2 of those, and DPW paving asphalt. And that is Mr. Molitor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you stated, we received bids on April 5th for this project. The bids were for the city resurfacing, we received 2 bids, Payne and Dolan, which was the lowest responsive bidder at $873,228, and 63 AW Oaks also bid on the project. They were high. Payne and Dolan submitted the lowest bid. Our estimate for this project was approximately $860,500. This project does qualify for the Racine Works program. We recommend that we award the project to Payne and Dolan on their base bid as stated.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Alder Land, second by Alder Sebastian to approve item 0315-23. Commissioner Rooney,
Just a comment about the last item, that is also a Receive Works program.
I thought of that the minute
And I
I said that.
Forgot
I
to
was like,
mention that
ah,
in all of our discussions, so thank you for letting me remind the committee of that.
Don't they all have to be if it's over 20,000?
Yeah.
My audience may not No,
Oh, okay.
that I missed this. So
I was just correct.
thank you for clarification. Any further comments, questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Our next item is 0321-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the city engineer in submitting change order number 2 to contract 202-1003 sidewalk replacement phase 1 Forward Equipment LLC contractors. Staff recommendation that the change order for the sidewalk replacement phase 1 Forward Equipment LLC contractors be approved in the deduct amount of $143,485.10. Physical note, funding for this change order is credited in the following: sidewalks and sidewalk assessment net penalties. Mr. Mullender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As stated, we are submitting this change order number 2 for the 2021 sidewalk replacement program. This was a Racine Works program, and this is where we are getting the deduct. He did not make any sort of effort to comply with the Racine Works program, so most of that deduct is coming right from that program. Original contract was approved in the amount of $716,507.50 under resolution number 0083-21 on February 17th of 2021. The first change order was in a deduct amount of $38,212.90 and that was approved under resolution 0533-21 on July 20th of 2021. Both of those are that bringing the contract to a total amount of $678,294.60. This change order brings the contract total amount to $534,809.50. We recommend that we approve the change order in the deduct amount of $143,485.10.
Questions from committee members? Seeing none, on the background.
So when people don't comply with the Racine Works, is that sort of something that you keep track of?
Oh, yeah.
Future contracts, I'm gonna guess.
Well,
Maybe,
yes and no.
okay, details?
Details. Ron and I have had many discussions about this, and particularly with finance department and city administration. What happens with the Racine Works program is the purchasing agent is the one that determines whether they comply or they don't comply. Okay, so they're submitting all that information to them. You know, are you hiring people from the city of Racine? Are you going through WRTP Big Step? And, you know, for the most part, if you're making a concerted effort to do that, there's really not going to be a penalty involved. But if you're simply not doing anything, you just brought your employees in from wherever and did the work, and you know, you at the very end of the project, you know, you thanked your pleaded for amnesty from the program. Doesn't really work that way. You know, the contractors that I think that do have some difficulty getting it, they are reporting monthly to the purchasing agent, showing them all, you know, the
Actually, weekly,
you know, weekly. I'm sorry, I think we're. So, you know, I think in this case with Forward, they were a contractor just came in, did the work, and after the fact said, oh, we tried, but we didn't really get anybody in. So a penalty was imposed here. Now, it's imposed, so they're not going to get paid what they should get paid for the work. They're going to get a penalty. So, you know, that money's won't leave the city's coffers, if you will. However, you know, if this program, I think, you know, you want to try to maybe really get some teeth in it. You have to be very careful because you don't want us to exclude contractors from doing the work. You know, because at the end of the day, we're trying to get the best bid price for the taxpayers. At the same time, you're trying to get people, you know, hopefully, you know, some type of work out of this that live in the city. You know, I think something that we've been trying to have a discussion on is, do you want this to be part of the pre-qual program? So like I mentioned, there's two contractors who took out plans for the transfer station that would have been great bidders, but they didn't get pre-qualified. So when you get pre-qualified, you have to submit all your financial statements to Public Works, everything. We review all that. Ron goes through it thoroughly, kind of equipment do you have, what's your financial statements, what's your bonding capacity, all those things. And you kind of hit different, score different points on that. And if you get over a certain threshold of points, you're pre-qualified to bid. If you don't, we don't pre-qualify. You don't have the financial wherewithal. You don't have the labor. You don't have the equipment. You don't have the experience, blah, blah, blah. What we had mentioned, if you want, you put in Racine Works as part of that pre-qual. Have you complied with it? At what level? And, do you either, get points or get points taken away if you don't? So we don't know where that will go, if that's part of that discussion, but I think that's something that's worthwhile. We continue to bring it up and see if that's something we want to use to enhance Racine Works, and make it part of the pre-qual, because, some contractors just, they take the hit and have no intention of ever hiring anybody from Racine Works program. But if they're habitual, then you could put that into Racine Works, or I'm sorry, into pre-qual, and say,
To filter them out from the beginning.
well, yeah, you give, you gotta be, let's be honest with ourselves. You have to have some type of reason and some type of understanding of what happens with particular contractors. I don't think you give anybody, you debar them for a year because they didn't meet with Steamworks. Maybe you say, hey, and if you miss it 2 consecutive years or something, and then that really, will deduct points from your pre-qual. So those are things that we've talked about. We'd like to further that discussion, but I guess right now it's just a monetary penalty. Good forward, come back and bid next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, as long as they're pre-qualified.
So here's the thing, in that pre-qual form, it does ask a question. Have you ever been dinged for non-compliance for a Racine First or a Racine Works program? It's a 10-point question. So if you say, yes, I have, you lose 10 points. Well, the aggregate amount of points you can receive on any pre-qualification is 115.
What do we need, 80?
And 85 points is all you need to qualify to bid projects. So you can get penalized and you're only going to lose 10 points on your pre-qualification.
Yeah,
So
I misstated that. We make it a bigger penalty?
Got it.
Yeah,
It's
so-
there, but it's really, it doesn't really mean if the person contractor does it once or does it 5 times, it's still a 10-point loss. So it's, thank you for jumping in there.
Yeah, so it doesn't have a whole lot of teeth, If every other part of the contractor's pre-qualification looks good.
They've done
I
that
can't.
forever, and
Yeah. And I will say this, since I've been here, I only know of one contractor who has been not pre-qualified to do work. So, when you have a failure to pre-qualify, it becomes a legal battle. We're still going through it right now with this particular contractor, so it's not, so if I just send you a letter saying you failed the pre-qualification, you're not qualified to bid on city of Racine projects, and here's why, well, chances are that process is going to get drawn out for quite some time.
Yeah, part of that pre-qual also, Ron's point too, is, have you been late getting contracts completed on time? Have you been liquidated damages? That really adds up as a deduct on your pre-qual. We don't want the pre-qual contractors who simply, we have a job, we want to get done on a road project in 3 months. We think that's enough time to get the project done. The citizen's got to put up with it. Not 5 months, we're serious as can be about that. And so this particular contract had quite a bit of problems with LVs on contracts all over, and
And you mentioned that there were some contractors that didn't bid on the transfer station because they didn't want to go to the pre-qual process. They didn't, and that they just pulled themselves out of that process because they didn't think they would qualify based on that.
Don't know if that's necessarily true.
No, I think,
They just didn't,
well, I can tell you one contractor explicitly said
Yeah,
the received works program it presents too many pitfalls for us. We're not going to do it. One of the other ones didn't specifically say that, other than to say that it was mentioned, that it was part of their decision not to bid. So, yes, and these contractors, the two that I'm talking about are not in the state of Wisconsin. So I could see how they would have some trepidation in reading some of that language. And if you look at that language, it says 20% of your labor hours, you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to comply with that? During our second round here, when I did the pre-bid meeting, I did a big spiel about the Received Works program, saying, I understand it looks scary, but if you're working with our purchasing agent, if you're in contact with her weekly and maintaining communication, because I understand some of what happens here is you get an employee from WRTP, they might show up for one day and then leave. Well, the contractor also has a human resources department who goes through a lot to try to get these people on board and all that others. And sometimes they don't show up at all. Sometimes they're good workers, but there is some fear, I think, especially for those who are not used to that type of, quite frankly, some of these vertical contractors are more used to doing private work than they are public work. So when something like this happens, there's some fear there. And I tried to assuage some of that fear by the little presentation I gave in the pre-bid meeting.
You're a scary guy.
We had,
I think our underground contractors and our horizontal road builders, and they understand the scene works pretty good. This is a little bit different territory. We had a local contractor just wouldn't even take plans out on it. And they've been pre-qualified to bid for Racine projects, but they particularly just weren't interested in doing a project with the Racine Works program. It's not all the Racine Works program. Some of these contractors too, I think, if they're really don't think they can make a good run at a bid, they're not going to go through the process of putting all the documents together instead of pre-qualifications as well. So
yeah, sometimes the amount of work they have right now. So I mean, I don't anticipate that the construction world's going to be slowing down anytime soon. So it's booming right now. And, so there's a lot of competition.
We'd like to try to help make Racine Works a better program. We think we have some good ideas. I know that they do give like incentive bonuses for someone when they complete the program and go through WRTP, big step, so they can become available, and they get a bonus check for completing the program. Then they go start with a contractor and a job, and then they quit after a few days. They get their bonus money and they run. So it's like if we can work things out, with that. And we've been talking to Monica about this as well. Maybe you get maybe after 6 months or something like that. So it ensures that they stick around. And there's ways you can tweak and massage anything to make it work better. And we're all ears and we'll promote it. And I think Monica does a really good job in trying to get the best.
She really does.
The best she can for the program out of the contractors. She's very fair with them. More than fair, in my opinion.
Just one comment, question maybe. Aren't the contractors aware that, for instance, like you stated, they hire the worker and he just quit? That if they come back and talk to Monica, she can get the replacement and wouldn't be penalized. So do all the contractors understand that?
Those are the ones, the good ones, that let Monica know what the issues are week to week. So one like Forward here didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Until the end of the job and said, you know what, we really didn't have any luck. So yeah, that's part of what Monica maybe will not impose the full amount of penalties. This contractor who went through the steps to hire a person and give them a chance, not their fault. The person got up and like, holy smokes, this is hard work. I don't want to do this, whatever. It's not for me. Then they have to start from scratch, Their labor hours, I think, will get adjusted because they're already behind the 8 ball, when someone walks off the job like that, I can't help that, So that's where I think Monica works with all of them, as long as they're communicating openly with what they're trying to do, and I think she's very fair.
Yeah, if you are making an attempt and are communicating with her, she is extremely fair.
Thanks, everyone. Any further questions, comments? Motion is in order.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Sebastian, second by Alder Lamb to approve item 0321-23. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion passes. Our next item is 0320-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting final payment for contract 2021003, sidewalk replacement phase 1, Forward Equipment LLC contractors. Staff recommendation that the contracts be paid in the amount of $534,809.50. Down payment to include retainage. Physical note, contract 2021003 was authorized on the resolution number 0083-21 on February 17th, 2021. Mr. Hollander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the same contract that we just approved the rectifying change order for. This is the final payment, closing this project out. Basically all the numbers have been regurgitated, but the total project amount was $534,809.50. We recommend that we approve this total payment to the Forward Equipment LLC.
Thank you. Questions from committee members? A motion is in order.
Second.
Then motion by Alder Land, second by Alder Sebastian to approve item 0320-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, the motion passes. Our final item is 0342-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting amendment number 7 to the state municipal agreement for state project 2703-00-02 West 6th Street Bridge over Root River. Staff recommendation that amendment number 7 to the state project ID 2703-00-02 West 6th Street Bridge as submitted be approved. Physical note, there will be no cost to the city of Racine. Commissioner Rooney.
Madam Chair, and committee members are submitting amendment number 7 on this contract. The primary reason for the amendment is for a no-cost time extension to complete the National Historic Register requirements. The new project completion date will be March 31st, 2024. If the committee agrees, the appropriate action will be to approve the amendment and authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the agreement. So the project, as you know, is complete over there for the West 6th Street Bridge, but there's some things that we have to button up because we had to go through a pretty extensive memorandum of agreement with SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, because that bridge was on the registry. And so we have to close out some of that paperwork there. We have a purchase order in for the interpretive panels that will be put on the west abutment along the path underneath the bridge there. That'll show like stuff about the Charles Whitney Bridge that we replaced, the historic bridge. Also talk about Jen Jensen's Park, and also talk about the indigenous people that occupied that area before this area was settled. So that's part of that MOA, the memorandum of agreement we had with the preservation office to kind of go through that process of kind of memorializing what used to be there, what we replaced it with. So it's just to extend time on it. There's no cost to the city or the state for this. It's just complete paperwork because we haven't got the interpretive panels up yet. Those will be logged and documented, and then they'll be sent in, and they'll be closed out that we did what we were told to do to make sure we honored the bridge that was there and that area. So.
Thank you. Questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Layer, second by Alder Packard, to approve item 0342-23. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Very productive meeting.